Alrighty, so I'm going to show you how to do the assignment for week 5. Let me go ahead and share my screen. This is what the Moodle page should look like as soon as she loads. Oh, here we are. So we have 4 PDFs here. This is the actual assignment. This is for your reference, and then these are also for your reference. So go ahead and open up this homework 5. And another thing you're going to do is download these required files, these 2 Excel files. And what you're going to do is after you download them, you're going to need to unzip them, right? Show in folder, extract all, and save this on your H drive. And I would put it in a folder called week 5 for this week. Alrighty. And then when we take a little look-see at this instruction sheet, first thing we're going to do is actually modify our template. All right, we're going to add a few layers to our template. I just wanted to show you guys how to do this for future reference. You're not always going to have the perfect template. You may need to change your template, and then you'll have these things from then on. As long as you open a drawing from the newer version of your template, you'll have these layers. So that's the first thing we're going to do is refer back to your personalized template. So go to your H drive, this class, go to your template, and we're actually just going to open the template file. And you can tell it's a template drawing. It should say template. Open. Template. You may need to change the drawing type to be able to find it, because typically you're going to look for a drawing, not a template. So we can refer back to where we saved our template. Open. Okay, and now you can see that the file type says DWT. DWT means that we have the template open. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is add a few more layers in here. So go to layer properties, and we're going to create some new layers with this little button here. New layer. First thing we're going to do is EG for existing ground layer, and we're going to change the color to color 9. All right. Next layer, EX underscore BLDG for existing building. And then change the color to color 8. New layer, EX underscore brass and aluminum, so AL caps. So those are going to be your brass and aluminum caps. Like for a surveyor, they're going to have these buried caps underground that are used as a benchmark for their surveying references. So we're going to create a layer for those guys. All right, and that'll be color 40. And then EX underscore DTC underscore. Actually, I think in the instructions it has a dash CL. Doesn't really matter that much on how these are labeled, but this one is color green. So you can just select color green, which happens to be index color 3. And then the existing fence is the next one. So EX underscore FNC, and that one's going to be red, so color 1. The next one is existing fiber optic, so EX underscore FO, That one's going to be magenta, color 6. Next one, EX underscore pipe 10. So that would be a 10-inch pipe, whether it's treated water or sewer. You'd have to ask your surveyor, but that one's going to be blue. It's probably a sewer line because this next one is a treated water. So EX underscore TW for treated water line. And that one is going to be cyan, color 4. And the next one, EX underscore UP for underground power. That one will be yellow, color 2. And the last one is PRO underscore prop line. That's proposed property line. And this one is red also. Okay. Okay. So then as soon as we have our template updated with those layers, we're going to save it as a template. So file, save as, template. I'm going to call it template 0.2. We can call it new template, whatever you want to call it. Just make sure it's on your H drive so you have a reference to those, to your template, right? Template 2. And if you did not modify this template to have your name on the 11x17 2, 11x17 and letter layout tabs, might as well do that now. So you can modify this title block to include your name and not my name on all 3 of these layout tabs, and then you can save your template. All right. And then when it asks for description, just leave it blank. You can just hit OK. Then we're going to close out of our template. And we're going to start a new drawing from that template. All right. So open new, and then it will ask us for a template, and we want to reference to the one we just made, template 0.2, right? So now we can see we're in a drawing file, .dwg, right? And we can double check that those layers are there. Come on. There they are. There they are, existing things, all right? So that's how you modify your template. And you will likely need to do that in the field unless they have perfect templates that never need to change. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is make sure you have tool space open so you have all these guys here. And then hit the survey tab in tool space. And you will not have this week 5 here yet. But what we're going to do is hit set working folder and then refer back to the H drive in your week 5 folder. All right, select folder. And then what we're going to do is right click and hit new local survey database. I'm going to call it week 5.2, or actually I'm just going to do week 5, no spaces, because I've already done this. So that's what I already have here, week 5, right? I'm just going to hit OK. And then hit OK again. So I have this new week 5 right here. Next thing we're going to do is hit this button up here to change some of our survey user settings. All right. And these are referring to the C folder, which we know from experience that the college and their virtual machines don't like using the C folder very well. So we need to change those to refer to the H drive. And the ones we're going to change is this line where code sets path. This guy right here, we want to refer to the H drive in your week 5 folder, and this figure prefix database path also in that same folder, H drive week 5 folder. All right. Hit OK. Next we're going to do is expand our survey database that we just created. Hit open for edit. And this is where we can import our survey data, right? So right click on import events, import survey data. All right. So we can find the files that we want. So point file, hit the plus to browse. And we are going to add both of these. So let's just select one. I'm going to do the ground shots. Open. And I'm going to hit the plus again. And then do the new site underscore part underscore 4. Open. And you can see that it's actually importing 2 different files at the same time. And we want to make sure it's PNEZD, comma delimited, to make sure our X's and Y's and Z's and everything are good. Hit next, next. And these may say sample. You can just leave them as sample for now. Insert survey points, yes. All right, so finish. I'm gonna go to my model space so I can see what's going on here. Zoom extents. Okay, so there's our survey points, right? Pretty general grid, they're pretty small. I can change my annotation scale here if I want to be able to see those points better. There they are. So right here is your annotation scale. So basically, if your annotation scale is set to the same scale as your viewport when you're printing, the text should be the same size in model space as it is on your layout tab. So that's just a helpful tip, is this guy here to be able to see things. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a surface to show our contour lines. So if you don't remember how to do that, we're going to go back to Prospector, all right, and go to Surfaces, right click, hit Create Surface. And we're going to call this guy EG for existing ground. We can leave it on basic, but we're actually going to modify this to make sure that we have the colors that the instructions say. So you can just hit these 3 little buttons here. Select surface style, and we're going to modify the surface style. So edit current selection, major contour. So make sure you're on this display tab in this surface style editing window. So major contour, hit the color. And we want the major contour to be color 42. Minor contour, 52. Okay. So now that we've successfully updated our style, make sure that guy is selected, hit OK. Now we can expand surfaces, expand EG, the one we just created, right? Expand definition, point groups, right click, hit add. And now we have 2 different point groups, right? Because they were 2 different Excel files that are referenced. And the only one we want to add to our surface are these ground shots right here. So this new site underscore part 2 GND ground shots, all right? And hit OK. And there you go. There's our contour lines, right? With colors 42 and 52, those kind of tannish colors. Next thing we're going to do is play around with the line work code sets and the figure prefix databases. All right, so we're going to have to go back to the survey tab, line work code set. So I'm going to hit new, call it week 5. All righty. And we want to make sure our feature code delimiter is an asterisk. This guy is a /, no, yes on these 2. And let me scroll down a little bit. And then we want to make sure our begin line is BL, continue is just blank, end is EL, close. These are all the same as our instructions. And that's good. And basically, if you remember correctly, these are referring to text inside of our Excel file to tell Civil 3D whether to begin and end and close lines and curves and all that fun stuff. All right. So you just want to double check that your Excel file, has the same symbols as your line work code set does. Otherwise, your automated line work will not work. All right. So you have BL space and EL for begin, continue, and end, and you have your asterisk for feature code. Just hit OK. Alrighty. Next thing we're going to do is go to the figure prefix databases, hit new. We're going to call this one week 5 also. And you can expand these figure prefix databases. I'm going to manage this. So right click on the one we just created, manage. And then you can just hit plus to add a new feature, right? So this one, we want it to be 2-inch. My apostrophe button isn't working for my keyboard, so you might have to hit just the apostrophe button works, but my quotation isn't working. I don't know if yours has the same issue, but I'm just going to type it, the apostrophe twice to make a quotation. And then this is why we wanted to create those layers, because we want these layers to be the ones that we created in our template, all right? So I'm going to call this one, first of all, 2-inch brass cap. Okay. And that's referring to our Excel file and the surveyor data. So we want to set all that stuff to be on the layer EX brass and aluminum caps. All right. And then just hit plus to add the new prefix. So UP for underground power. Change the layer to EX UP, existing underground power, right? FO for fiber optics, same thing. Existing fiber optic. Next one is TW for treated water line. Oops. TW. Existing treated water. FNC for fence. Existing fence. BLDG for building. And I bet you can guess what layer we want, right? Existing building. Next one is the ditch center line. So DTC-CL. And change the layer to the ditch, existing ditch center line. Next one is our 10-inch pipe. Pipe 10. I guess this could be a storm drain instead of a sewer drain too, depending on whatever the surveyor wanted it to be. So we want this guy to be the existing 10-inch pipe. Exist pipe 10. And the last one is our 2-inch aluminum cap. 2-inch AL cap. And set that guy back to our brass and aluminum caps layer. And the style, the only one we're going to change is the fence to the fence style. All right. So just change that guy to fence. The rest can stay on standard. Hit OK. And the next thing we're going to do is process the line work, not from the ground shots, but this other Excel file that we imported. All right. So right click, hit process line work, and then set it to the one we just created, this week 5, figure prefix database and line work code set, and hit OK. And you'll notice that you have a zigzag in the shape of a Z, right? So I'm going to show you one thing. So So basically, this is actually not correct. All right. You did the exercise right, but I just want to show you what it looks like if there's an error in the Excel file and how to modify the Excel file to update your drawing correctly. So in reality, the fence actually runs north to south here, okay? But the program, did not draw those lines correctly. So what we're gonna do is have to open up that Excel file and look over what may have been the issue, what the surveyors may not have added to describe where the lines should begin and end. So I'm going to go back in here, week 5 on my H drive to these files. So basically, this is the file that AutoCAD is referencing right now. And if you look in the instructions, we have these begin lines, but we don't have the end lined referenced on some of these points, okay? So right here on row number 4 on this fence, we should add a dash EL because the fence begins here or begins somewhere and then ends here, okay? Another one we're gonna add is on line number 8, dash EL to end the line. And then line number 13 for this underground power, dash EL. Line number 14 for the same thing, dash EL. And then 49 and 50 are the only other two we're going to change. So this is just an example of something got lost in translation from the survey equipment to Excel, or oops, dash EL. And we have to correct the errors, right? Make the drawing correct. And one thing that's important is that you don't modify the original Excel file. So what we're going to do is actually save this as a copy. So hit File, Save As. And I'm just going to call this 0.3. All right, because I already did a 0.2. You can call it 0.2. Just to save it as a new version, my modified version, basically. So I'm saving it as a different version. So you have the original. You can show the surveyor, look, this is what you gave me. This is what it should be. Do better next time or whatever. So just hit save. All right. And then make sure you close out of this. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is actually delete these guys. So you can hit remove from drawing. Yes. And you'll see those survey points disappeared, right? But here in the tree, it still exists. So we're actually going to delete this guy. Yes. Okay. Now we're going to right click and import survey data. Same thing as before. Except we're going to select the newest version, the modified version of the survey data, right? So 0.3, open. And then if you have an error here, it means your Excel file is still open. So you need to close it because AutoCAD thinks you're still modifying the Excel file. So save it, close it. And then when you import it, you should have this green check saying that you're golden. And then hit next. Next, import options, we can just have this guy set to our week 5 and just hit yes to process during import, and yes, import survey points. Finish. And now you can see that our fence runs north to south. Okay. So there you go. We have our fence going the right way. Everything seems to have imported correctly. So the next thing we're going to do is set up our layout tab on the 11 by 17 sheet. Alrighty. So if you don't remember how to do that, you're going to have to double click in your viewport and unlock it. And typically what I do is hit zoom extents. So Z enter, E enter, get it to show up. All right. And let's set it to a scale that works with our engineer scale. 100 actually worked pretty well, so I'm going to lock that guy. So the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to actually see what label these survey points are on. Let's see, I'm going to select one. Oh, go to the home tab. Okay, they're on layer 0. We want to make sure that all of our survey data is on the vNode layer. So I'm going to hit select similar. Selects all of the survey data, survey points. And with the selection applied, I'm going to change the layer to the vNode layer. All right. And then I'm going to select that same layer and hit this third guy for the viewport freeze. And boom, they disappear. Right? They are frozen in the viewport. And of course, we got to add our north arrow and scale bar. So select your viewport. Select the north arrow. And then move this little guy to scale it up. Add the scale bar. Select the viewport, 100 feet. And then place it. Okay. So basically, this is pretty plain drawing. We're actually going to work on this drawing more next week. But if you can actually update this guy to say week 5. Week 5. And our scale is 1 inch equals 100 feet, right? And this is sheet 1. Okay. And then go ahead and print that guy off. And the next part of the assignment is actually you're going to draw with a pen as close as you can to scale a cul-de-sac inside of this property, okay? So that's what these other files are on your Moodle for week 5. So you have a choice between 2 different styles of cul-de-sacs. So this is a standard cul-de-sac with its dimensions, all right, for Park County standards, okay? So if you were to subdivide a property and you want a cul-de-sac, these are the dimensions that, you know, Park County requires. You can either have it with this style, the offset, where it's kind of going on one side, or you can have it symmetrical using this other style, okay? Typical cul-de-sac, where it's symmetrical, okay? So next week, we're going to actually draw this in CAD, but I want you to get a feel of how to, you know, look at a piece of paper and draw something to scale, or to look at something that's drawn to scale. A lot of the times I would work with engineers, and after I print something out, they would literally use their engineer scale with a pen and draw something, and then want me to measure that on paper and draw it in CAD, right? So when you print this guy off, I want you to grab your engineer scale, make sure you're on the 10 side so everything's golden. And I want you, to the best of your ability, sketch one of these cul-de-sacs out with a pen and your engineer scale according to these shapes, more or less. Alrighty. So after you print that off, sketch out your cul-de-sac, and that's another way to double check. Did you print it to scale, right? Did your scale bar actually show up 1 inch on your, you know, scale bar up here? Is this actually 1 inch when you printed it? Because if it's not, there's something wrong with the printer setup. But yeah. And then the last step is actually, there's a few questions here on the instructions right here. So this guy, okay, so according to the Civil 3D design overview chart, what is the first step? What are the 3 steps of creating a horizontal alignment? Another name for profile is what? And basically all of those can be answered on this guy. So this is basically an overview of not only the book, but the process of Civil 3D design, where it involves surveying, importing your survey data, creating contours, creating parcels, property boundaries, basically, and then you can create your alignments. And from your alignments, you can create a profile or a vertical, right? So there's one of your answers there. So go ahead and answer those questions and turn that guy in, and make sure you sketch out, your cul-de-sac, and turn that guy into me too. If you are off-site, you can print that guy. If you have a printer, I guess if you don't have a printer, you can print it to a PDF, and then to the best of your ability, just use the snipping tool to kind of draw where you think the cul-de-sac would be. I guess that's the best way to do it if you don't have a printer. But yep, just those 2 things, these 3 questions, and that other sheet will be what I'm expecting you to turn in. But if you have any questions, let me know. Yeah, see you next week.